The deadline passed. The human prisoners were not delivered. Captain Daywan stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and watched the countdown timer reach 0. He had given the Vakron Empire every chance to do this peacefully. They had chosen war instead. Navigator, set course for Karavesh. Maximum speed. Yes, sir, Hana responded, her fingers moving across her controls. ETA 2 hours. The Indomitable jumped through space, leaving the debris field of the 7th Fleet behind. As it traveled, Vakron long-range sensors tracked its approach. Alarm signals spread across a dozen star systems. Everyone knew where the human ship was going. Everyone knew what would happen next. On Karvesh, War Minister Krelnak stood in the command center of his new defense network. Around the planet, his secret weapons were now active. Gravity mines floated in hidden positions. Dimensional disruptors were charged and ready. Quantum torpedoes waited in concealed launchers. 4,000 Vakron warships had gathered from across the Empire, forming the largest fleet the Vakrons had assembled in 50 years. Krelnak looked at the tactical display with satisfaction. They may have defeated 300 ships, but they cannot defeat 4,000. And they cannot overcome weapons they have never encountered before. General Veklar stood beside him, his face grim. War Minister, I beg you one last time. Send the prisoners out on transports. Let them go before the shooting starts. Absolutely not, Krelnak replied. Those prisoners are our only leverage. If we release them, the humans have no reason not to destroy us. They have no reason to show mercy if we keep holding hostages, Veklar argued. You are making the worst possible choice. That is your opinion, General. We will see who is right very soon. Emperor Thalkarun watched from his throne world. Connected by live video feed to the Karvesh command center, his hands gripped the armrests of his throne tightly. He had made his choice. Now he would live with the consequences. The Indomitable emerged from its final jump just outside the Karvesh system. Captain Daywan studied the tactical display showing the massive Vakron fleet and the defensive installations around the planet. They really want to fight, Taeyang observed from the weapons. Station! They are afraid, Daywan said. Fear makes people do foolish things. Open a channel to the Vakron command. Krelnak's face appeared on the screen. He looked confident, almost smug. Human Captain, you are outnumbered 4,000 to 1. You face weapons you cannot imagine. Turn back now, and we may let you live. Daywan's expression did not change. War Minister, I am Captain Daywan of the Human Star Navy. I have come to retrieve our people. This is your final opportunity to release them peacefully. If you refuse, I will be forced to take them by force. Many of your people will die. This does not need to happen. You cannot win this battle, Krelnak said. We have prepared for you. We know your tactics. We are ready. You are not ready, Daywan said softly. No one is ever ready for what happens when you threaten human lives. But I am giving you one more chance. Release our people. Stand down your forces. Let us leave in peace. Never. If you want your people, come and take them. If you can, the communication link closed. Daywan sat back in his command chair and was quiet for a long moment. His crew waited. They all knew what the captain was thinking. He did not want to kill thousands of Vakrons who were just following orders. But he had his own orders. Get the prisoners back. At any cost. All hands, battle stations, he finally said. Weapons free. Defensive systems to maximum. We are going in. The Indomitable moved forward into the Karvesh system. Immediately, the Vakron fleet opened fire. 4,000 warships unleashed everything they had. The space between the planet and the human ship filled with weapons fire. But they had learned from the 7th Fleet's mistake. They were not using just regular weapons. They were using their secret arsenal. Gravity mines detonated, creating crushing fields of force. Dimensional disruptors fired, trying to tear holes in reality itself. Quantum torpedoes phased in and out of existence, attempting to bypass the human shields. On the Indomitable's bridge, alarm signals sounded. These weapons were different. These weapons were dangerous. Shields holding, Sung-Ho reported. But they are working harder than before. These new weapons are affecting our defensive fields. Casualties? Daywan asked. None yet, sir. But if they maintain this barrage, they might eventually penetrate our shields. Daywan nodded. Then we end this quickly. Taeyang, you may fire at will. Target their weapons platforms first, then their command ships. Try to minimize casualties, but protect this ship and our mission. Understood, sir. The Indomitable's weapon systems fully activated. What happened next would be remembered in Vakron history as the Day of Fire. The human ship's main weapon began firing continuously. Each shot was perfectly aimed, perfectly calibrated. Defense platforms crumpled or exploded. Command ships broke apart. The Vacron fleet that seemed so massive began to shrink rapidly, but the Vacrons kept fighting. They were desperate. They were terrified. They threw everything they had at the single human vessel. A quantum torpedo actually got through the shields. It struck the Indomitable's hull directly. The ship shuddered. Damage reports came in from engineering. Hull breach on Deck 7, Bora reported. We have casualties. 2 crew members injured. It was the first time the Indomitable had been damaged. The first time anyone aboard had been hurt. Something changed in Captain Day One's eyes. They grew colder, harder. They drew our blood, he said quietly. No more restraint. Taeyang, weapons free, full power. And this now, what followed was devastation. The Indomitable stopped holding back. Its weapons fired faster, hit harder. Entire sections of the Vacron fleet simply ceased to exist. The orbital defense grid disintegrated. The weapon platforms melted into slag. In the command center on Karvesh, Krelnak watched his carefully prepared defenses collapse. His secret weapons that were supposed to stop the humans had failed. His massive fleet was being destroyed faster than the 7th Fleet had been. This is impossible, he whispered. How can one ship do this? General Veklar grabbed Krelnak by the shoulders. Order our forces to stand down. Now, before everyone dies. I cannot. The Emperor ordered me to defend this world. The Emperor did not order you to commit suicide. Veklar shouted. He turned to the communications officer. Send a message to all Vacron ships. This is General Veklar. Cease fire immediately. All ships stand down and withdraw. That is a direct order. You do not have the authority, Krelnak protested. I am taking authority. Veklar roared. Someone has to save what is left of our fleet. On the Emperor's throne world, Thalkarun watched the battle with growing horror. 2,000 ships destroyed already. The fighting had only been going on for 40 minutes. At this rate, his entire fleet would be gone within the hour. He made his decision. He opened a direct communication channel to the Indomitable. To his surprise, it connected immediately. Captain Dewan appeared on his screen. Human Captain, this is Emperor Thalkorin. I order my forces to stand down. Please stop the attack. I will release your people immediately. Dewan studied the Emperor's face for a moment. Then he nodded. All Vacron ships must withdraw beyond the orbit of the 3rd moon. You have 10 minutes to comply. If any ship fires at us during that time, we will resume the attack. Understood. Thank you for your mercy. The communication ended. The Emperor sent emergency orders to all Vacron forces. The remaining ships retreated rapidly. The shooting stopped. Space grew quiet except for the drifting debris and the emergency signals from damaged vessels. Captain Dewan turned to his crew. Status? 2,000 Vacron ships destroyed, 1,800 disabled. 200 retreated, Sung-Ho reported. Our casualties, 2 crew members with minor injuries. Hull breach on Deck 7 sealed. All systems operational, Dewan nodded. Prepare for prisoner retrieval. Hana, take us into orbit over the detention facility. On Karvesh, Commander Beltok received his orders. Release the human prisoners immediately. He rushed to the detention area where Minsu and the others waited. Humans, come with me. Now you are leaving. The prisoners looked at each other in confusion and hope. Was this real? Were they truly going home? Beltok led them outside to the transport pad. Above them, they could see the Indomitable hovering in the sky. It was the most beautiful thing they had ever seen. You will be transported directly to your ship, Beltok told them. I apologize for your captivity. This should never have happened. Minsu looked at the Vacron commander. Thank you for treating us decently while we were here. Beltok nodded. Then he activated the transport system. In pulses of light, the human prisoners vanished from Karvesh. They reappeared in the medical bay of the Indomitable. Doctors and nurses rushed to help them, checking for injuries, offering water and food. Little Icha looked around in wonder. Mommy, are we safe now? Yujin hugged her daughter tightly, tears streaming down her face. Yes, baby. We are safe. Captain Dewan came to the medical bay to see the prisoners. They all stopped what they were doing and looked at him. Some started crying. Others cheered. Minsu walked forward and extended his hand. Captain, thank you. Thank you for coming for us. We thought maybe Earth had forgotten about us. The news of the Seventh Fleet's destruction spread across the Vacron Empire like wildfire. Every military channel broadcast the same shocking images. Admiral Carthen's fleet reduced to wreckage by a single human warship in 14 minutes. Officers who watched the recording could not believe what they were seeing. Many thought it was a hoax, a simulation, some kind of propaganda trick, but it was real. 300 warships destroyed or disabled by one enemy vessel. The pride of the Vacron military turned to scrap metal, while the human ship suffered no damage at all. On Karvesh, the fortress world where the human prisoners were being held, the garrison commander received an urgent message from the High Command. He read it 3 times before he truly understood what it said. Prepare all human prisoners for immediate transfer. They are to be delivered to Imperial transport ships within 6 hours. Any delay will be considered treason. The commander, whose name was Beltalk, felt his hand shaking as he held the data pad. He had heard about the battle. Everyone had heard about it. Now the Empire was going to return the prisoners. They were going to surrender to human demands. Beltalk immediately called his second officer. Gather the detention staff. We need to move the human prisoners right now. His second officer looked confused. Sir, are we moving them to more secure cells? No, we are preparing them for release. The Empire is giving them back. The second officer's eyes went wide. We are surrendering. To one ship? One human ship, Beltalk corrected. Apparently that makes all the difference. Inside the detention facility, the human prisoners sensed that something was changing. The Vacron guards were acting strangely. Some looked nervous. Others looked angry. A few looked scared. Minsu noticed it first. He had been a prisoner long enough to recognize when the guards' behavior changed. He whispered to his wife, Yujin. Something is happening. I think something big. Yujin held their daughter Echa closer. Good or bad? I do not know yet, but the guards are afraid of something. In another cell, an older woman named He-Jin spoke to the other prisoners. She had been a ship engineer before her capture. She understood military behavior. Listen to me carefully, she told the others. The guards are preparing for something. I think someone is coming for us. I think Earth sent help. A young man named Wu Jin spoke up. He had been on Sejong Station for only 2 months before the attack. You really think they came for us? We are just miners and workers. We are nobody important, He-Jin smiled at him. To Earth, every human is important. That is what makes us different from them. Meanwhile, in the Vacron capital, Emperor Thalkarun faced the hardest decision of his reign. His counselors were divided. Half wanted to give back the prisoners and end this crisis. The other half, led by War Minister Krelnak, insisted they fight. Your Majesty, Krelnak said urgently, if we surrender now, we look weak. Every species in the galaxy will think we are cowards. Pirates will raid our borders. Rebels will rise up. Our enemies will smell blood. General Veklar stood up to respond. And if we fight, we will all die. Did you not watch the battle recordings? One human ship destroyed the Seventh Fleet like it was nothing. What do you think will happen when they send a real attack force? We have been developing new weapons, Krelnak said. Secret projects based on technology from the species we conquered. We have gravity mines, dimensional disruptors, quantum torpedoes. We have things the humans have never seen before. So did the Krethians, Veklar said quietly. So did the Solvans. So did every species that ever fought humans. They all had secret weapons. They all lost anyway. Emperor Thalkarun rubbed his temples. He had not slept in 2 days. War Minister, how long would it take to deploy these new weapons? Krelnak's eyes lit up. We can have them operational on Karvesh within 12 hours, Your Majesty. We can turn that world into a fortress that even humans cannot break. And if they do break it, then we know they are truly unstoppable and we surrender. But at least we will have tried to defend ourselves. Veklar shook his head. Your Majesty, this is madness. Every hour we delay, we anger the humans more. Give them their people now. Show them we are reasonable. Show them we made a mistake and we are correcting it. The Emperor looked between his 2 advisors. Pride versus wisdom. Strength versus survival. What was the right choice? I will not surrender without trying to defend ourselves, the Emperor finally said. War Minister, deploy your new weapons to Karvesh, but you have 12 hours only. If the human ship arrives before the weapons are ready, you will order all forces to stand down and release the prisoners immediately. I will not waste lives on a hopeless battle. Krelnak bowed deeply. Thank you, Your Majesty. You will not regret this. As the War Minister rushed away to give orders, Veklar approached the Emperor privately. Your Majesty, please reconsider. Those prisoners should already be in space, heading toward the human ship. Every moment we delay is a mistake. Perhaps, the Emperor admitted, but I cannot show weakness to the entire galaxy without at least trying to defend our territory. You understand this, do you not? Veklar sighed. I understand, Your Majesty. But understanding does not mean I agree. I have seen what humans do when they are forced to fight. And I have seen what they do to those who harm their people. Then we must hope they show mercy, the Emperor said. Humans show mercy to those who show wisdom, Veklar replied. I am not certain we are showing wisdom here. On the Indomitable, Captain Daewon received regular updates from his intelligence officer back on Earth. G1 had been monitoring Vacron communications using hidden sensors and code-breaking programs. Captain, the Vacrons are moving forces to Karvesh, G1 reported over the secure channel. It looks like they are preparing defenses rather than preparing to release the prisoners. Daewon was not surprised. How long until they are ready? 12 hours, possibly less. They are deploying new weapon systems. Our intelligence suggests these are experimental technologies they have been holding in reserve. Can these weapons harm us? G1 paused before answering. Unknown, Captain. We have not seen them in action before. I recommend caution. Daewon nodded to himself. Understood. Continue monitoring. If they make any move to harm the prisoners, inform me immediately. Yes, sir. And Captain? The deadline is in 36 hours. I am aware. Daewon out. He closed the communication link and looked at his bridge crew. They were all listening. They all knew what this meant. The Vacrons were going to fight rather than surrender peacefully. Tactical assessment, Daewon said to Sung-Ho. The tactical officer brought up a holographic display of Karvesh and its surrounding space. The planet has significant natural defenses. 3 moons all equipped with weapon platforms. Orbital defense grid with 200 stations. Planetary shields that can withstand sustained bombardment. And now they are adding unknown weapons to the mix. Can we penetrate these defenses? Daewon asked. Yes, sir. But it will take longer than 14 minutes. And we may have to use more destructive force than we did against the fleet. Casualties? On our side? None. On their side? Depends on how stubbornly they defend. Could be thousands. Could be millions if the planetary shields fail in inhabited areas. Daewon frowned. He did not want to kill millions of Vacrons. This was not their fault. This was the fault of their leaders who took the prisoners and refused to return them. Continue on course to Karvesh, he ordered. But send another message to the Vacron High Command. Tell them we know they are preparing defenses. Tell them that if they continue down this path, we will have no choice but to use overwhelming force. Tell them people will die unnecessarily. Tell them this is their last chance to make the right choice. Communications Officer Jae-hee sent the message. Then the crew waited to see if the Vacrons would listen. On Karvesh, Commander Beltok had gathered the human prisoners in the main detention area. They stood in groups, families staying together, friends supporting each other. All of them looked tired, scared, but also hopeful. They had heard the guards talking. They knew something was happening. Minsu held Icha's hand tightly. His daughter looked up at him with wide eyes. Daddy, are we going home? Minsu wanted to say yes. He wanted to promise her that everything would be okay, but he had learned not to make promises he could not keep. I think so, baby. I think someone came for us. Who came? Minsu smiled. Earth came. Earth always comes. Commander Beltok stepped forward to address the prisoners. He looked uncomfortable, as if he did not know what to say. Humans, he began. You will be held here for a few more hours. Then you will be transferred. That is all? Transferred where? Heejin asked boldly. Beltok hesitated. He was not supposed to tell them anything. But looking at their faces, looking at the children, he felt something unusual for a Vacron. He felt guilt. You are being returned to your people, he said quietly. A human warship has come for you. They demanded your release. The Empire has agreed. The detention area erupted in noise. Prisoners laughed, cried, hugged each other. Some fell to their knees in relief. Others shouted questions at Beltok. Silence, he commanded. You will wait here until transport arrives. Do not cause trouble. Do not try to escape. If you behave, you will be home soon. Admiral Carthan stood on the bridge of his flagship and stared at the human ship on his display. The Indomitable looked small compared to his massive dreadnought. His ship was 3 kilometers long, covered in armor and weapons. The human vessel was barely 300 meters. It looked like a child's toy. 60 hours had passed since the human captain's ultimatum. 12 hours remained. The High Command had sent Carthan new orders. Test the human ship. See if it is truly dangerous. Do not destroy it unless necessary, but show strength. Carthan did not like these orders. They were unclear, confused. Either destroy the enemy or do not. There should be no middle ground. But he was a good soldier. He would follow orders. Open a channel to the human ship, he commanded. The communication link opened. Captain Day One's face appeared on the screen. He looked exactly the same as before. Calm, emotionless, waiting. Human Captain, Carthan said, you have 12 hours remaining on your ultimatum. I am authorized to inform you that the Vacron Empire does not negotiate with invaders. Turn your ship around and leave our space or we will fire upon you. Day One tilted his head slightly. Admiral, we are not invading. We are retrieving our people. You have 12 hours to bring them here. After that, we will come and get them ourselves. You are one ship, Carthan said. I have 300. You cannot possibly believe you can fight your way through us. We do not want to fight you, Admiral. We want our people back. Make this easy for everyone. Return them now. Carthan felt anger rising in him. This human spoke as if the Empire was nothing, as if 300 warships meant nothing. I will give you one demonstration of our power, Carthan said. Then you will understand your position here. He closed the communication link and turned to his weapons officer. Fire a warning shot. Use plasma torpedoes. Put them close to the human ship, but do not hit it. Let them see what our weapons can do. The weapons officer worked his controls. 6 plasma torpedoes launched from the flagship. They streaked through space toward the Indomitable, glowing red with heat and power. Each one carried enough explosive force to destroy a city. On the Indomitable's bridge, Tactical Officer Sung Ho watched the torpedoes approach. His screen showed their speed, trajectory, and power level. He did not look concerned. Captain, they've fired warning shots. 6 plasma torpedoes. Impact in 20 seconds. Point defense? Day One asked. Already active, sir. The torpedoes came closer. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Then they simply stopped existing. The Indomitable's defensive systems activated. They did not fire lasers or missiles to intercept the torpedoes. Instead, they created small fields of altered physics around each torpedo. Inside these fields, matter could not exist in its current form. The torpedoes broke apart at the molecular level and scattered as harmless atoms across space. On Carthan's bridge, the weapons officer stared at his screen in confusion. Admiral, the torpedoes are gone. Gone? Did they miss? No, sir. They just stopped existing. I do not understand the readings. Carthan felt a cold touch in his stomach. Fire again. This time aim to hit. Sir, our orders were to test them, not to destroy them. Those are my orders now. Fire. 20 more torpedoes launched. Then 50 more. 100 torpedoes filled space between the Vacron fleet and the human ship. Surely no defense system could stop them all. But they all vanished. Every single one broke apart before reaching the Indomitable. Carthan's hands gripped his command chair tightly. All ships prepare to fire. Target the human vessel. Full weapons spread. His fleet officer stepped forward. Admiral, the High Command ordered us only to test them, not to start a battle. That ship just destroyed 100 torpedoes without firing a shot. That is all the test I need. Either we destroy them now or they will destroy us. All ships, open fire! 300 Vacron warships unleashed their weapons at once. Thousands of torpedoes, missiles, plasma bolts, and laser beams filled space. The energy display was so bright that the bridge crew had to dim their screens. On Earth, in the Human Star Navy headquarters, Admiral Chen Wei watched a live data feed from the Indomitable. Other officers gathered around her, watching the battle begin. No one spoke. They had all seen this before. They knew what would happen next. The wall of fire reached the Indomitable. For a moment, the human ship disappeared behind the explosions and energy blasts. The Vacron crews cheered. Surely nothing could survive that. Then the fire cleared. The Indomitable floated in space, completely undamaged. Its shields had not even flickered. Carthan felt his blood turn cold. How? Admiral, his science officer said quietly, their shields are not like ours. They are not blocking the energy. They are sending it somewhere else. I do not understand the technology, but our weapons are not even touching their hull. Captain Daewon's voice came over the communication channel. He had not waited for Carthan to call him. He simply opened the channel himself, which should not have been possible through Vacron security systems. "Admiral, you have fired upon us. That was unwise. We are still willing to resolve this peacefully. Stand down your weapons and allow us to proceed to Karvesh." "Never," Carthan shouted. "All ships continue firing. Do not stop until that ship is destroyed." Day One sighed. It was a small sound, almost sad. "Very well. You have chosen this course. Taiyang, you may return fire. Disable their weapons, but try not to kill their crews. They are just following orders." On the Indomitable, Weapons Officer Taiyang's hands moved across his controls. "Understood, Captain." Engaging targets. The human ship's main weapon activated. It was not a laser or a missile. It was something the Vacrons had no name for. A beam of energy that was also gravity, that was also something else entirely, reached out from the Indomitable and touched one of the Vacron dreadnoughts. The massive warship began to collapse. Its hull bent inward. Metal screamed as the ship's entire structure compressed. In less than 4 seconds, a warship 3 kilometers long had been crushed into a ball of metal, the size of a transport shuttle. The gravity field then released and the compressed remains drifted in space, no longer recognizable as a ship. Every Vacron ship stopped firing. The crews stared in horror at what remained of their sister ship. What was that? Someone whispered on Carthan's bridge. "Localized gravity manipulation," Sung Ho said on the Indomitable, reading his instruments. "We increased the gravity field around that ship by a factor of 10,000. Basic physics did the rest." Carthan's voice was shaking now. "All ships evasive maneuvers. Scatter formation." But the Indomitable was faster. Its targeting systems locked onto ships across the entire fleet. The human warship moved through space like it was dancing, each movement perfectly calculated. Every time its main weapon fired, another Vacron ship either crumpled like paper or broke apart as its internal structure collapsed. Some Vacron ships tried to run. The Indomitable caught them easily. Some tried to hide behind others. The human ship's weapons phased through the blocking vessels and hit the ones behind. Some brave crews tried to ram the human ship. They bounced off its shields and spun away into space. Their ships damaged, but their crews mostly alive. In 14 minutes, the battle was over. 198 Vacron ships were destroyed completely. 102 were disabled, their weapons gone, their engines dead, but their life support still functioning. Only a handful had managed to retreat through emergency jump portals. Admiral Carthan sat in his command chair, staring at the tactical display. His fleet was gone, 300 ships reduced to wreckage by a single enemy vessel. He could not believe what he was seeing. His communication officer spoke quietly. "Admiral, the human ship is hailing us," Carthan wanted to refuse. He wanted to order self-destruct. He wanted to die rather than face this humiliation. But he had a duty to his surviving crew members. "Put them on." Captain Day One appeared on screen again. He still looked calm, but now there was something else in his eyes. Disappointment, perhaps. "Admiral Carthan, you have attacked us without provocation. We have disabled your fleet. Your crews are alive because we chose to let them live. Do not test our patience again," Carthan found his voice. "What are you?" "We are humans, Admiral, and we came here for one purpose. We do not want your territory. We do not want war with your empire. We only want our people back. You destroyed my entire fleet for 200 humans? We would destroy your entire empire for one human," Day One said simply. "That is what it means to be part of humanity. We do not abandon our own. Ever." He leaned forward slightly. "You now have 48 hours remaining. I suggest you inform your high command of what happened here today. Tell them to bring our people to these coordinates. If they do not, we will proceed to Karvesh and take our people back ourselves. And if we have to do that, we will not be as gentle with your defenses as we were with your fleet." The transmission ended. Carthan sat in silence for a long moment. Then he turned to his communication officer. "Send a message to the high command. Tell them everything. And tell them we cannot stop this ship. Tell them nothing can stop this ship." In the Vacron capital, Emperor Thalkarun received Admiral Carthan's message. He watched the battle recordings in stunned silence. Around him, his counselors were arguing, shouting, panicking. The alarm screens lit up red across the Vacron border station. Commander Thelvas lifted his head from the datapad he was reading. His 3 eyes focused on the main display where a small dot appeared on the edge of their space. Something had just crossed into the Empire without permission. "What is that?" Thelvas asked his second officer. "A ship, Commander. Single vessel. Small size. It just appeared on our sensors. Thelvis relaxed back into his chair. Probably just another stupid merchant who took a wrong turn. Maybe some refugees running from the war in the outer systems. Nothing important. His station had been quiet for months. This was just another boring day. Send them a warning message. Tell them to turn around or we will destroy them. The communications officer worked at his station for a moment. Then he stopped. His hands froze over the controls. His face turned pale, which was hard to do for a Vacron since their skin was already gray. "Commander, you need to see this." Something in the officer's voice made Thelvis stand up. He walked over to the communications station and looked at the screen. There he saw the ship's identification broadcast. His blood turned to ice. JSS Indomitable, Human Star Navy. The entire command center went silent. Every officer stopped working and stared at the screen. Thelvis felt his heart's beating faster. He had heard the stories. Everyone in the galaxy had heard the stories about humans. 25 years ago, the Crethean Dominion had captured some humans. They thought the humans would pay money to get their people back. Instead, the humans came with warships. In 3 months, the Crethean Dominion stopped existing. 400 worlds turned to ash. Billions dead. The humans only stopped when they got every single captive back. Then there was the Solvan Confederacy. They killed some human diplomats by accident. The humans said it was not an accident. They proved it with evidence. Then they destroyed every Solvan military base in the galaxy. The Confederacy surrendered in 2 weeks. The galaxy learned a simple rule. Never harm humans. Never take their people. Never make them angry. "Get me the High Command," Thelvis said quietly. "Right now." Across 12 star systems, emergency signals activated. Military bases went to high alert. Admirals were pulled from their sleep. The Vacron High Command gathered in their war room on the capital world. They all saw the same thing on their displays. One human ship moving deeper into their empire. Admiral Carthan stood before the massive tactical display. He was the supreme commander of the 7th Fleet, the pride of the Vacron military. 300 warships under his command, 300 of the most powerful vessels the Empire had ever built. "One ship," he said to the Council. "They sent one ship into our space." "It's a human ship," replied Councillor Vresh. "You know what that means." "I know the stories," Carthan said. "But stories are just stories. 300 ships against one. Even humans cannot beat those numbers." The Crethians thought the same thing, Vresh said quietly. The High Command gave Carthan his orders. "Take the 7th Fleet, intercept the human ship. Find out what they want. Stop them if necessary. But be careful. Be very careful." Carthan gathered his fleet in the Helcor system. 300 warships formed a wall of steel across the path the human ship would take. He stood on the bridge of his flagship and waited. Meanwhile, aboard the Indomitable, Captain Daywan stood calmly at the center of the bridge. He was not a tall man, but he carried himself with quiet confidence. His uniform was simple and clean. His face showed no emotion as he watched the displays around him. "The Vacron fleet is ahead," said Hana from the navigation station. 300 ships. They're forming a blockade." "Continue on course," Daywan replied. Taeyang looked up from the weapons station. "They're powering up their weapons, Captain." "Should I prepare countermeasures?" "Not yet. Let them make the first move." The bridge crew worked in silence. There were only 47 humans aboard the Indomitable. 47 people against an empire of trillions. But not one of them looked worried. They had all trained for this. They all knew what was at stake. 3 months ago, Vacron raiders had attacked a human mining colony called Sejong Station. The colony was small and far from Earth. The Vacrons thought no one would care about it. They were wrong. The raiders took 217 humans, men, women, children. They took them as prisoners, as slaves, as trophies. The Vacrons thought the humans were too far away to respond. They thought the colony was too small to matter. They did not understand humans at all. For 3 months, Human Intelligence Officer Jiwan had tracked those prisoners. She worked without sleep, following every tiny clue. She hacked Vacron communications. She found informants in the criminal networks. She analyzed shipping patterns and troop movements. She became obsessed with finding those people. Finally, she found them. They were being held on Karvesh, a fortress world deep inside Vacron space. It was one of the most protected places in the Empire. The Vacrons thought they were safe there. Jiwan reported her findings to Earth. Earth sent the Indomitable. Earth sent Captain Day 1. Now the human warship was deep in enemy territory, and an enemy fleet blocked its path. "We're receiving a transmission from the Vakron fleet," said Jahe from communications. "Put it on screen." Daewon ordered. Admiral Carthan's face appeared on the main display. He looked confident, almost amused. "Human vessel, this is Admiral Carthan of the Vakron 7th Fleet. You have violated Imperial space. You will power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. If you refuse, we will destroy you." Daewon stepped forward. He looked directly into the camera. "Admiral, I am Captain Daewon of the Human Star Navy. We are here to retrieve our people. You have 72 hours to return them safely. After that time, we will come and take them back ourselves." Carthan laughed. "Your people? We know of no humans in our space. And even if there were, you are in no position to make demands. One ship cannot threaten an empire." "We are not threatening," Daewon said calmly. "We are informing. You took 217 humans from Sejong Station 3 months ago. They are currently being held on Karvesh. You have 72 hours to bring them to this location and release them. If you do not comply, we will proceed to Karvesh and retrieve them ourselves." "You are insane," Carthan said. "I have 300 warships. You have one. Turn back now or I will turn your ship into dust." Daewon's expression did not change. "You have 72 hours, Admiral. I suggest you use them wisely." He made a gesture to Jahe, who cut the transmission. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Then Hana spoke from navigation. "Captain, they're not moving. The fleet is holding position." "They think we're bluffing," Taeyang said. Daewon sat back in his command chair. "Then they haven't learned from history. They'll learn soon enough." He looked around at his crew. Each one of them looked back with determination in their eyes. "All hands prepare for combat operations. Weapons free in 72 hours. Until then, we wait." Far away on Karvesh, in a detention facility, a human man named Minsu sat with his wife Yujin and their daughter Acha. They had been prisoners for 3 months. Every day was the same. Every day they wondered if Earth remembered them. Minsu held his daughter close and whispered, "They'll come for us. I promise. Earth never leaves anyone behind." Little Icha looked up at him with tears in her eyes. "When, Daddy? When will they come?" Minsu looked out the small window at the alien stars. "Soon, baby. Very soon." He did not know that a human warship was already on its way. He did not know that Captain Daewon had just given the Vakron Empire an ultimatum. But he would find out soon enough. They all would. The countdown had begun. The Vakron High Command meeting room was filled with tension. 12 of the Empire's most powerful leaders sat around a black stone table. They all watched the same video recording. It showed the human warship, the Indomitable, sitting calmly in space while Admiral Carthan's fleet surrounded it. Emperor Thalkarun sat at the head of the table. He was old for a Vakron, his skin darker gray than most. He had ruled the Empire for 30 years. In that time, he had conquered 20 worlds and crushed a dozen rebellions. But now, watching this single human ship, he felt something he had not felt in decades. He felt fear. "Explain to me," the Emperor said slowly, "how this happened." War Minister Krelnak stood up. He was younger, ambitious, and believed strongly in Vakron superiority. "Your Majesty, 3 months ago, one of our raiding parties encountered a human outpost in the frontier regions. The outpost was small and poorly defended. Our warriors captured the inhabitants according to standard procedure." "Standard procedure," repeated General Veklar, an older officer with scars across his face. "We took human civilians as slaves. There is nothing standard about that." Krelnak glared at him. "We did not know they were humans at first. By the time we discovered this, they were already in custody on Karvesh." "And you did not think to return them immediately?" Veklar asked. "Why should we? The outpost was in disputed territory. We broke no treaties." "Because they are humans." Veklar slammed his fist on the table. "Because everyone in this galaxy knows what happens when you harm humans." The Emperor raised his hand for silence. "General Veklar, you fought in the Crethean War, did you not?" "I observed it, Your Majesty. My ship was part of a neutral monitoring force. We watched from a safe distance." "Tell us what you saw." Veklar sat back in his chair. His 3 eyes grew distant as he remembered. "I saw hell, Your Majesty. I saw what happens when you make humans angry. Everyone in the room leaned forward to listen. Even Krelnak went quiet. 25 years ago, the Krathian Dominion was one of the strongest powers in this sector. They had 400 worlds, millions of warships, and an army that numbered in the billions. They were proud, arrogant, and they believed nothing could stop them. Veklar paused and took a drink of water. His hand shook slightly. Then they raided a human colony world called New Sol. They took 30,000 humans as slaves. The Krathians thought the humans would negotiate. They thought humans were soft, weak, too civilized to fight back properly. What happened? Asked a young counselor who had not been born when these events occurred. The humans went silent. For 6 months they said nothing. No messages, no threats, no negotiations. The Krathians thought they had won. They celebrated. They sold the human slaves across their empire. They laughed at how easy it was. Veklar's voice grew harder. Then the humans came, but they did not come to talk. They came with a fleet like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Ships that could travel through dimensions we cannot detect. Weapons that did not just destroy matter, but erased it from existence completely. The room was completely silent now. The humans did not fight a war. They performed an execution. In 97 days, the Krathian Dominion ceased to exist. Every military base destroyed. Every warship turned to scrap. Every commander hunted down and killed. The humans only stopped when they recovered all 30,000 captives. All of them? The young counselor asked. They got them all back? Every single one, Veklar confirmed. Living or dead. The humans went to every Krathian world, every station, every hidden base. They found their people and brought them home. And everywhere they went, they left nothing but ruins behind them. Emperor Thalkarun looked pale. How many Krathians survived? The total Krathian population before the war was 96 billion. Veklar said quietly. After the war, less than 3 billion remained. Most of those were civilians on worlds that had not participated in the slave trade. The humans did not hurt non-combatants unless they had helped hold the captives. Krelnak shook his head. That was 25 years ago. The humans only sent one ship this time. One ship. That proves they are weaker now. They cannot spare a real fleet. Or, Veklar said, it proves they only need one ship to handle us. The Emperor stood up. I need to understand something. Why did the raiding party take humans in the first place? We have standing orders to avoid human territory. An intelligence officer stepped forward nervously. Your Majesty, the outpost was not marked as human territory. It was listed as an independent mining station. Our raiders did not know humans operated it until after the attack. But you knew afterward, the Emperor said. You knew before the prisoners reached Karvesh. Why did no one inform me? The intelligence officer looked down. The raid commander filed his report incorrectly. He listed the captives as generic humanoids, not specifically humans. By the time anyone noticed the error, 3 months had passed. The Emperor closed his eyes. 3 months. His empire might fall because of a paperwork error. How many humans did we take, he asked. 217, Your Majesty, workers, engineers, and some families. Families, the Emperor repeated. We took human children. 12 children, Your Majesty. The youngest is 7 years old. The Emperor sat down heavily. He had grandchildren of his own. He knew what it meant to take someone's child. Your Majesty, Krelnak said urgently, we cannot show weakness. If we surrender to one human ship, every species in the galaxy will think we are cowards. Our empire will look weak. And if we fight? Asked the Emperor. We crush them. We have thousands of ships. We have technology from a dozen conquered species. We have the strongest military in this sector. One human ship cannot defeat us. Veklar stood up. Your Majesty, I beg you, do not make this mistake. Return the humans now. Apologize, give them compensation. Do whatever they ask. Because if you fight, we will lose everything. You cannot know that, Krelnak argued. The stories about humans are exaggerated. Fear makes stories grow larger than truth. I was there, Veklar shouted. I saw it with my own eyes. I watched human ships tear through Krathian defenses like they were made of paper. I saw weapons that should not be possible. I saw an entire empire fall in 3 months. The Emperor held up his hand again. Enough. I will make my decision after we see what Admiral Carthan reports. He will test the human ship. If it is truly as dangerous as the stories say, we will return the prisoners. If not, we will defend our territory. Your Majesty, Veklar said desperately, by the time we see what the human ship can do, it may be too late. That is my decision, the Emperor said firmly. This meeting is over. As the counselors filed out, Veklar remained behind. He approached the Emperor quietly. Your Majesty, I served your father. I have been loyal to your family for 40 years. Please listen to me now. The humans gave us 72 hours. Use that time wisely. Find those prisoners, return them with apologies. Save our empire. The Emperor looked at the old general. You really believe we cannot win? Your Majesty, I believe that fighting humans is like fighting the ocean. You might kill one wave, but the tide will drown you. That ship out there is just the first wave. If we harm it, if we refuse their demand, then the real fleet will come. And we will not survive what comes after. The Emperor nodded slowly. I will consider your words, old friend. But as Veklar left, he knew the Emperor would not listen. He could see it in the ruler's eyes. Pride and fear were fighting inside him, and pride was winning. Veklar returned to his quarters and began making preparations. If the Empire would not save itself, then he would at least try to save his family. He sent secret messages to his wife and children, telling them to leave the capital world immediately. In space, the Indomitable waited. Captain Dewan sat in his command chair and watched the countdown timer. 71 hours remained. His crew worked quietly around him. They were ready. They had always been ready. And in the detention center on Karvesh, Minsu held his daughter and told her stories of Earth to help her sleep. He did not know that the Empire was arguing about his fate. He did not know that a war might start because of him and the others. He only knew that he missed home, and he prayed someone would come for them soon.